What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video. And today I'm discussing Sergio Oliva Jr. issues a warning to anyone else competing in that 2021 Chicago Pro. Shaun Clarida and James Hollingshead, their feats of strength in the gym. Plus, we've got a physique update from James Hollingshead. Yarishna Ayala, is she the new star of the wellness division? Plus, which former Mr Olympia competitor wants to make a comeback to the Olympia stage at 70 years old in 2021. We've got the news on who that is, plus much more. So let's start with Steve Laureus, who's a star of that Classic Physique division. And really, I mean, he could have had an Arnold Classic title in the bag because he only lost, I think, by a few points to George the Bull Peterson, which I think was back in 2019, where he looked phenomenal. He could have just been maybe a touch harder, maybe a touch bigger as well. I know he did still have room to move in that Classic Physique division in terms of weight as well. Now, we got this physique update from him, looking really good in his off-season. I can't wait to see what he brings in 2021, if he obviously is planning on competing, because we didn't see him back in 2020. So many people have sort of forgotten about him. I mean, if you haven't competed in a year in bodybuilding or the pro bodybuilding circuit, much of the time you're actually forgotten about. But I'm actually wondering, is this the man to actually challenge Chris Bumstead at the Classic Physique Olympia? Many said Steve Laureus, when he burst onto the scene and did his first pro contest and won his first pro contest, that he was going to be the heir apparent to that Classic Physique Olympia title. He was going to be challenging guys like Breon and obviously Chris Bumstead, in the future. But it hasn't really eventuated that way. He obviously did very well at that Arnold Classic, but we haven't seen it on the Olympia stage yet where he's really brought it. So I can't wait to see what he actually brings in 2021. And do you think that he actually has the ability to win a Classic Physique Olympia title, or what do you think his ceiling is? I mean, is it second to a Chris Bumstead, maybe beating out a Terrence Ruffin possibly, or is he sort of assigned to maybe just a top 5 role? And is there a guy, obviously like Brian Jones, who came 5th at that 2020 Classic Physique Olympia, is he ahead of where Steve Laureus is right now? Because in terms of height and all that sort of stuff, so you got Chris Bumstead, you got Brian Jones, and then obviously you got Steve Laureus as those taller guys up in that top 5 of the Classic Physique Olympia. And then you got guys like DeAndre Campbell as well, who was, more towards the back end of that top 10 in the Olympia in 2020 as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that actually goes. And obviously a Wesley Vissers as well. In terms of those tall guys, if they end up getting more bunched together eventually, as I suppose these guys sort of sort themselves out in terms of placings and bringing their best to the stage. Or do you think it will sort of still be like Chris Bumstead at the top and then Brian Jones at 5th and then Wesley Vissers and DeAndre Campbell a little bit further down the lineup? Or do you think they'll all bunch together? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is the Classic Physique division more about the shorter guys, more about the taller guys, or do you just think it's an overall balance and whoever really brings it on the day will place the highest? Let me know what you think in the comments below on that. So moving on to our next story, and we're discussing Yarishna Ayala, who is 9 days out of the Pittsburgh Pro and that wellness division. Now, I think she is looking absolutely phenomenal, really bringing some great conditioning to that wellness division as well. She's got amazing abs, obviously, got that whole look of the wellness division with the bigger legs and the bigger booty and all that sort of stuff, but still have a really tight waist and more muscular than what a figure competitor is. And I think she looks absolutely phenomenal. And by the guidelines and everything that's been put out there, she's really the perfect model for that wellness division. Now, I think she's going to be the favorite going into the Wellness Olympia. Granted, she can actually win her first pro show, and I think she will. Now, let me know what you think in the comments below, what you think of the wellness division, because it does seem like, a lot of these girls are obviously more bottom heavy in terms of having the bigger glutes, the bigger legs and all that sort of stuff. Because I've heard some people say, like Dave Plumbo actually said, they're almost promoting to have a disproportionate physique in terms of less muscle up top, more muscle down the bottom. Now, let me know what you think in the comments below. Or do you think the wellness division is just not something you're into because, it's sort of making a division just for everyone to include everyone and to get more competitors? So let me know what you think on that below. And also let me know what you think about Yarishna Ayala. Will she be the first wellness division champion? I keep going to say women's physique, but it's wellness at the Olympia. So let me know what you think on that below. In our next story, we're discussing a few feats of strength in the gym by Shaun Clarida and James Hollingshead. Shaun Clarida is getting up the 180-pound dumbbells. I think it's for 9 reps what I counted. It might have been 10 as well. And I mean, the form looked pretty damn good as well. It was very, very good. He said he actually wasn't even happy with the lift, but that's damn impressive. At 198 pounds in his off-season lifting that. So he's under 200 pounds, smashing out reps on the 180-pound dumbbells. extremely impressive, your 212 Mr. Olympia from 2020. And he looks like he's going to be hard to stop in 2021 as well, you know, because he seems like almost like the most dedicated guy out there just about, because he's improved year to year. And when you go back and look at some of his photos, it is damn impressive what he's actually achieved. So when you see this photo here with him and Flex Lewis, you can see obviously Flex Lewis was ahead of the game in terms of, you know, where his physique was at that time. And then you look back just after his first show, I mean, he's a totally different, he looks like he has a totally different physique. He looks like he doesn't even have a good shape. He doesn't look like he has any potential. He's only about 5'1" or so, or 5 foot. It's just crazy to think, seeing this physique here, but he actually turned into the 212 Olympia and obviously turned into this competitor that looks absolutely crazy. So credit to Shaun Clarida and everything he's achieved against all odds. In our next story, obviously talking about James Hollingshead, throwing around the 220-pound dumbbells, 100 kilos in the other metric scale. Damn impressive, just rowing those, looking like it's like 50 kilos or 100 pounds, not 100 kilos. So I just want to highlight that as well. Plus his most recent physique updates. Now he posted up this one on his Instagram page. Patrick Tour, his coach, posted up this collage of his recent updates, looking really impressive. His midsection looks tighter for off-season. He's 300 pounds here. And Patrick Tour also mentions he's improved his biceps on the front double bicep as well. And you can sort of see that as well. I think it's some really impressive updates. And he's got that, obviously, that film of hair all over his, well, not really a film, that layer of hair all over his physique, which does blur the lines as well. So I think even if he actually shaved that off, he'd probably look in better condition in his off-season at 300 pounds. That's very, very impressive. And guys, let me know where you think that James Hollingshead will place in the 2021 Mr. Olympia. He's obviously got a long off-season going into it. He's still obviously in his off-season, and then obviously he'll batten down the hatches and really concentrate on that 2021 Mr. Olympia pretty much from here onwards. I know he's sort of getting into that groove at the moment. So let me know what you think. Where will he place at the 2021 Mr. Olympia? So moving on to the story about the former Mr. Olympia competitor that wants to make a comeback in 2021 at 70 years of age, and that's Ron Love. He was recently just on RX Muscle with Dave Palumbo, and here's some of what he had to say.
Yep. You know, right now, I'll be 70 years old. Ain't no 70-year-olds walking around like me. No. And I know that for a fact.
Ron before the show told me he's 280. Is that true?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm 280 right now.
Now you told that people are not gonna believe me, so you're gonna validate this. You told me before the show that you are planning for when you're 70 years old, you want to get back to that Olympia stage and stand on that stage again. Is that true?
That's
As
right.
a competitor.
That's true. As a competitor. As a competitor.
You're like gonna be like the George Foreman of bodybuilding. How the heck are you doing this? How are you carrying that kind of mass around at your age?
Because I talk to God every day. He says, Ron, what you want? I give you what you need and what you want.
Let me go back to the fact that, because people are not going to even believe in this, that you want to get back on the stage again. Now, you know, another guy who's in his 70s now who looks amazing too is Robbie Robinson. I would love to see you guys battle it out. Would you like to go, you know, mano a mano with Robbie Robinson on a bodybuilding stage?
At this point, I ain't seen Robbie. Robbie, he can't stand on stage with me.
Why not? He's pretty ripped.
He ain't got enough muscle.
You want to compete this year or next year? What's the goal?
I actually want to try to do it this year, but I want to make sure I can get to a certain type of condition. You know, I got the size. I'm in pretty condition right now.
Right.
You know, but I want to make sure I make the impression that I want to make.
Right. Now, do you want to do Masters or you want to do the Open class?
They're not having the Masters.
No, they got a lot of Masters shows this year, pro shows. Yeah.
Oh, do they?
They don't have the Masters Olympia, which I'm hoping they do bring that back next year, but they do have some Master Pro events out there. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'll send you the schedule. They got it up on the
website. Please do. So I can go whoop some tail.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nutty. He's 280 pounds right now. 70 years old. I'll give you a few of the stats on Ron Love. So he's a 3 times pro contest winner, 5-time top 10 Mr. Olympia competitor, competed in 14 shows in 1 year. That was 1989, which is the year I was actually born. So obviously he has done a lot in bodybuilding. Very, very impressive resume, and he's one of those guys that really is underrated. This is actual interview of Dave Palumbo, who's actually dubbed as, you know, the most underrated bodybuilder of all time, and he really is up there because not many people talk about Ron Love for a 3-time pro contest winner, multiple-time top 10 Mr Olympia competitor. Great physique, very, very impressive. Now, how will Ron Love look at 70 years old on a Mr Olympia stage, and will he be, I suppose, awarded a special invite? Because I don't think he's going to get there by qualifying in smaller shows. Now, Dave did point out that they do have other master shows on the schedule, which he was like sort of surprised about and he got sort of excited about, which I think is cool. But he wants to compete in the Open Mr Olympia, which is sort of crazy, but we've seen it in recent years, but not by anyone who's 70 years of age. We've obviously seen Flex Wheeler come back. We've seen Dexter Jackson compete at a much older age. Kevin Levrone. Now, can he match any of those guys? Can he look as good as the Flex Wheeler looked when he came back and did the Classic Physique division? Now, he doesn't want to do the Classic Physique. He wants to compete in open bodybuilding. And should there be a special invite for someone like a Ron Love, like a bodybuilding legend that wants to just come back and try their hand at the Mr Olympia? Or would you rather see a Masters Mr Olympia come back and have like a 50 plus, a 60 plus, a 70 plus division? Let me know what you think in the comments below on that. And can he look better than a Flex Wheeler or a Kevin Levrone that came back at, 50 plus years of age? Let me know what you think in the comments below on that. And moving on to our last story, and it's on Sergio Oliva Jr. Now, the last video I did was basically stating how Sergio Oliva and also Hunter Labrado are going to be going head-to-head of that 2021 Chicago Pro. Now, Sergio put a post up and he put up this photo, which I assume is a recent shot. So with this photo that he actually posted up, he actually said this, and I'll just read the end bit of the caption that he put with the photo. I weighed on stage at the Arnold last year what these cats weigh in their off season. If you're coming to the Chicago Pro for an Olympia qualification, then don't come. So I assume that Sergio actually knows that Hunter Labrada is competing in that Chicago Pro as well, because obviously it's been well publicized. I did a video on it. Other people have talked about it as well. Sergio is, generally on social media a fair bit, so he obviously knows Hunter's doing that show. Obviously, he's hoping to get a qualification for that 2021 Mr Olympia as well. I'm assuming one of these guys will get the qualification, one of them won't, and then probably one of them will go on and compete in extra shows as well to get that qualification regardless of whoever wins. But there will be other competitors that are going to be really good at this show, presumably as well. So I can't actually wait to see what happens. And I hope for the sake of the Olympia that, these guys go 1-2 at the Chicago Pro. The other guy goes on and gets his qualification at the show afterwards, and then we get to see him go head-to-head again at the Olympia. It could turn into one of the great rivalries, because we saw it in 2020 with Hunter Labrada and Ian Valliere, but it's going to mean a little bit more with the history. Obviously, Lee Labrada being the father of Hunter, and then Sergio Oliva Sr. being the father of Sergio Oliva Jr. It really is sort of nostalgic, especially for those guys who love the history of the sport, and I love the history of the sport. So I can't wait to see this battle at the Chicago Pro. It's going to be the first time these guys are going head-to-head against each other, and I just can't wait to see it as well, because, Sergio was previously sponsored by Labrada Nutrition as well, and then obviously Hunter went on to become pro and then become a sponsored athlete with Labrada as well. So it's going to be super interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Will Sergio win that 2021 Chicago Pro? Seems like many people are split, and probably more people are leaning towards Sergio for actually winning that Chicago Pro based on what I've seen in my comments of the last video. So let me know what you think in the comments below on all these topics. I want to give you guys a heads up. Desktop bodybuilding t-shirts will be available very soon. There's going to be a limit of about 100. I can't actually do that through the website I actually sell the t-shirts through, but I'm going to wait till I see about 95 to 98 t-shirts sold, and then I'm just going to cut it off. So if you don't get in, you won't get any of the Desktop Bodybuilding OG original t-shirts. I'm going to make a really cool design. Haven't quite finished it yet, but it's looking really good. So make sure you do keep an eye out for that. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell button. That way you're notified of every video that goes up on Desktop Bodybuilding, and you will find out first about it on these videos. So in the next couple of videos, maybe the next one, maybe the one after, there will be an announcement and the t-shirts will be live. Also, I want to say happy 420 for everyone out there that enjoys a bit of bud. So blaze up, enjoy yourself. And that's it for myself. So for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.